This man was a star by any stretch of the imagination. Unfortunately for him, he played in the 1890s, a time when you might say football in terms of evolution was in its infancy. The Scottish Cup had started in 1873. The problem with a cup competition is that your stay in it depends on results. But in 1890 the league started, and suddenly that makes a considerable difference, because every season you have a set number of games to perform. And when he played, that league competition had just started. The reportage in the papers, particularly in the broadsheet newspapers, was mainly of, in those days, horse racing and rugby and cricket. I mean, those were the games for the middle classes who read those kind of papers, and football was trying to fight its way in. And then even worse from the point of view of Sandy McMahon, just after he retired, the great Celtic 6 in a row team rose to prominence with Jimmy Quinn as centre forward, and he took some of the gloss off McMahon's possible achievements. He'd a lot going from Sandy McMahon, to be quite honest. At a time when the average Scotsman was only 5'7" in height, Sandy McMahon was 6 feet, which gave him a considerable advantage in going for a high ball, I would have thought. There were stories at the time that he was a fairly ungainly looking performer, but there's been many a guy who looks ungainly and once he gets into action looks very good indeed. And McMahon's record of 171 goals in 217 matches is a phenomenal performance. It gives him a tally of a goal every 1.3 games, and only recently a certain player called Henrik Larsson equalled that tally. Now there's always a temptation to look back to the past, and belittle the achievements of that time. You know, football was different and all the rest of it. And it was. Football was embryonically improving all the time. It wasn't the sophisticated game it is today, but Sandy McMahon in those days would have received a physical abuse way beyond the level that any modern player would be expected. If you look through the Celtic records of that time, penalties were a rarity. You practically had to mug somebody to be given a penalty. Most of them were given for a handball incident. There's no change. So it was a difficult time. And I'll give you two other stats that might put his kind of performance into perspective. In the years he played, 5 different teams, Celtic, Rangers, Dumbarton, Hearts and Hibs, won the First Division Championship. And the year he left in October 1903 to go to Partick Thistle. Third Lanark won it that season as well. So 6 teams in those 13 years won the Scottish First Division Championships. Sadly, it is now 25 years since Aberdeen, the last team outside the Old Firm, won the top division championship in Scotland. So the competition in those days in many ways might have been really very much better than the modern guys are having to draw on. Particularly delighted to see another striker, at least he calls himself that, Stevie Chalmers, here today. Stevie's record, as you heard, is an excellent one, and I'm sure he's in an ideal position to admire the talents of somebody like Sandy McMahon. Also like to thank and also congratulate the McMahon family, who are here today from all corners of the world, for first of all giving us an ancestor like Sandy McMahon, and also we hope you keep his memory safe. And finally, I'd like to thank the Celtic Name Society, who do marvellous work and keeping these guys' names, who are often forgotten. Only a few years ago, when Celtic put forward names for their Hall of Fame, initially Sandy McMahon's wasn't included at all, and there was a few of us kicked up a stink at the time, because, you know, 171 goals in 217 matches, how can you keep somebody like that out of any list of best possible Celtic players? So thank you all for coming today, and I hope you know, you take away the memory of this man with you if you're not a member of the family, and even for members of the family, I hope you all get together and share your memories, and look forward to seeing you at Celtic Park again soon. Thank you.